Well, let's briefly speak about that change and that transformation that you made from being a person on the streets doing the things that the street person does to being the man or both the men that you are today. I mean, I don't know much about your background, Unique, but a little bit I know about a little about yours, Trag. So tell us about, just like the Apostle Paul had that road to Damascus where Jesus encountered him and that change occurred. What was your road to Damascus?
Well, I remember I was 16 years old. This was my first turning point. And I share it. It's actually one of my biggest testimony that I share with the youth when I go out and minister to the youth. When I was 16, I got stabbed 6 centimeters from my heart. And to this day, I don't know what the whole circumstances was, but I was faithful to a friend of mine. He got into a little situation, and I was there basically in his defense, and I got stabbed. And one thing I can remember is that when they got me to the hospital, the nurse had told me, I don't know if you know God, but if you do, you need to pray. And whereas at that time, I'm not going to necessarily say I took God for granted, but that was the beginning part of my change. Because I said, I know God, so I started praying. Then when I started praying, my eyes closed. I died. And I saw myself walking to the pearly gates. And as before I walked in, it was two angels. They turned around and pushed me back. With that, I woke up. And it was just a crazy situation right then and there. A lot of people talk about it. You see it in movies, how people die, but I can share it because I experienced that situation. And the prayer that I was praying before I died, I told the Lord, if you bring me through this time, I'll be who you who you want me to be. And 6 months later, I betrayed him. The Lord pulled me through, and 6 months later, I betrayed him, and I went back to the streets, and I got stabbed again. 6 inches away. If you take a ruler from my chest to my arm, I got stabbed 6 inches away. And that's 666. That's the devil. So with that was my straight turning point, because if the devil couldn't take me, I know it was of God for me to be here, and he had me here for a reason. So I had no choice but to turn my life to God and start walking from the negative back on into the positive.
Praise God. And here you are today.
Yeah.
The man that you are now. Now you're a married man. You have how many children?
Two boys,
Two boys.
16 and 9.
Praise God. And Unique, do you have children? You
Yes, I
married
do.
kids?
I've been
Yes,
through
sir.
that war. I've been through that war.
Proud papa.
Had child and tribulations. It's a learning process.
Yes, it is. How old? Do you have children though?
Yes, I do.
How old is it?
I have a 7-month-old, and I have a 7-year-old, and I have 2 teenagers and an adult.
You've been a busy man.
Well,
have
that
cable.
come from a lifestyle, though.
Hey, yeah.
That came from, like you say, we sit around, we run the streets, and the idea of being a parent, I always was a parent. I always felt as though I was the head of a household, even if I wasn't in the house.
Right. So you were always taking care of your
Just
responsibilities.
the maintenance is just like a job. If
Praise
that's your
God.
responsibility to do that, you
Praise
do what's
God.
necessary. And I learned that from the idea of having a lot of absences. Losing the mother at a very early age, father matters, in and out. Somebody want to be your dad, but that's just a figure.
Right.
But that came with losses. That way, like today, that's why I consider myself unique, because it took a lot of losses in a formatting of just change in general. Because raising yourself, as we deal with the society today, as being an adult at a very early age,
Yes.
I know what it feels like. I know what that establishes as far as being raised by other generations that you have no clue, dealing with the system. Being as an adult dealing with the system, just dealing with the system that circulates us, just building our environment. So that's pretty much what gave me my manhood. And I cherish that right now.
Well, thank God for more men like you. We really do pray that there's a movement of men. There are a lot of fathers out here who are loving their children, loving their families, and sorry? Do you want to freestyle? Okay, so we'll get there. And we'll open it up to freestyle. We'll let the editor do it. So, what was I saying? we have a lot of men here, a lot of single parents who get a lot of flack, especially the men, about not holding up their end of responsibility,
Right.
especially in the Black and Latino community. And it's really, really good when we hear about men who are, whether they're single or married, they're hanging in there with the family, going through family transitions, and raising strong, healthy young men and young women for the next generation. So let's talk just a little bit about Soldiers for Christ ministry and what you all do, and what are your visions for Soldiers for Christ? And then after that, if you wouldn't mind, can you do a little freestyle for us today? Do that? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Soldiers for Christ ministry.
All right, Soldiers for Christ ministry, that's a ministry that I started. What gave me the vision of that is, when it comes to God, you can't half step, you know, and it takes a real soldier to be like David, you know, and I look at myself, I consider myself David, you know, I'm a soldier, you know, I'm gonna fight to the end, you know, and that's why I said Soldiers for Christ should be a good new foundation to start with for my ministry. You know, Soldiers for Christ ministry, you know, and it just consists of me and my brother. You know, we two soldiers, you know, and my goal is, and my destiny and my vision is to form that link. I want this link to be nationwide. You know, you got Soldiers for Christ here in North. My vision and what my prayer is, next year we got it in California. We can go to Texas. We can go to Africa. We take it nationwide. You know, just like the with Christianity. You know, and I'm not half stepping with Christ. You know, we all deserve a fair chance. You know, and everything consists of a vision. You know, and I got a vision to make change, and that's what Soldiers for Christ is basically for change.
So do you guys go around and you talk to youth? Do you engage youth in the community? What exactly do you do with Soldiers for Christ?
Basically what
Everybody.
we do it all. We consider community-based outreach.
Okay.
And we challenge the churches, the communities, everything.
Okay.
So that's the whole what it means. We don't lay down for nothing.